Hi everybody, in this video we're going to read a cute little comic here to understand something about percents. So read the following comic and decide if you agree with the customer or the waiter. Before we read the comic, let's read the little French-English dictionary here. Garçon means waiter, merci means thank you, and monsieur means sir. So here we go, here's the customer and here is the waiter. Customer says, "Excuse me, garçon, could you please fill up my glass? It's empty." The waiter says, "But of course, monsieur." And he fills it up over here. "Yummy water, merci." And he says, refreshing. I'll drink 40% of it. Glug, glug. Okay, "Excuse me, garçon." "Yes, monsieur. Could you please increase the water in my glass by 40%? "But of course." Okay, so he filled it up again. "Hey," uh-oh, looks like the customer's angry here. "Hey, what's this? Is there a problem, monsieur?" "Yes, my glass should be full now." "No, monsieur, you are wrong. I did exactly what you told me to do." Okay, so there is the comic. So I want you to think about it for a second, pause the video, go over the information that's in this comic, and then decide if you agree with the customer. Is he right to be upset? Did the waiter do something wrong? Or do you agree with the waiter that he did everything that the customer asked? All right, pause the video and think. All right, so I'm assuming that you've paused the video and you've thought about it. Now let's talk about what happened. Back here in this, what would you call it? A frame? Is that what you call it? So in this frame, the customer says, I'll drink 40% of the water. So the water was full to begin with. He drank 40% of it. So then in this frame, the water is no longer full. 40% of it is gone. All right. Then he asks the waiter to fill his glass up by 40%. So he drank 40%. Then he wants the waiter to fill his glass up 40%. So he's expecting the glass to be full. But the waiter pours some water in, and after pouring in the water, the glass is, you can see that he did pour some more water in. There's more than it was before, but it's not quite full like it was earlier. So the customer is mad about this. He's thinking, well, if he drank 40% and then the waiter increased the amount in the glass by 40%, it should be back where it started, back to that original value. All right? So who's correct here? Is the customer correct for being angry so the water should be full again? That's what he's thinking. Or is the waiter right that he did actually increase the water by 40% like the customer asked him? Well, the answer might surprise you. The waiter is correct. I know, the customer is always right, right? Well, not in this case. The customer is wrong. The waiter is correct here. If you decrease something by 40% and then you increase it by 40%, you actually don't end up back at the original value. You don't end up back where you started. So to understand why that is, let's take a look at this picture over here. All right, so let's say that this is the original amount of water that's in the glass. So the glass was full to begin with. Okay, here it says the original amount. All right, so you can see here, that's 100% there. Now, 40% of a full glass is this much. You can see if we draw a dotted line, we're scaling. Okay, so over here where I have these percentages are scaled so that 100% is exactly at the top of whatever we're taking a percent of. So if we're taking a percent of a full glass, then 100% should be lined up with the top of that full glass. And then if the customer drinks 40% of it, how much is he drinking? So if 100% is over here, 40% is down here. So this right over here is the amount of water that the customer drank back over here when he said, I'm going to drink 40% of this water. Okay, so he drank that much, which means that this amount you can see here, so if he drank 40%, then there's still 60% left in the glass, right? So this, what I have over here, if you put these two things together, then you get the full amount. So this is the amount that was left over here, okay? That's 60% that's left in that glass of water when the customer asks the waiter to fill it up by 40%. So the customer has this much water in his glass when he asks the waiter to increase it by 40%. And then the waiter does, and you might expect it to be full at that point, but actually no, it's not going to be full because 40% of this amount is not the same as 40% of this amount. At this point, when the customer says, fill up my glass, please, increase it by 40, well, he didn't say fill it up, he said increase it by 40%. Well, then we have to rescale everything. So now 100% should be scaled so that the top of it is at the top of this little rectangle of water over here. And so 40% of this amount would be this much. And this is the amount that the waiter poured in. You can see that that the waiter did pour in 40% of the amount that was left over in the customer's glass when the customer asked him to do that. But 40% of this amount, which is this, is not the same as 40% of a full glass, which is this. So when you add these two together, oops, what did I do there? What, that should be, sorry about that. Now I have to group these things again. Oh, it is grouped? Okay, what's it doing? Okay, so when you add these two things together, right, you don't get a full glass again. All right, so hopefully now you understand why the waiter is correct. And it's a common mistake for students to think, well, if something decreases by 40% and then increases by 40%, then we would be back where we started. Or if something increases by 25% and then decreases by 25%, then we should be back where we started. No, that's not right. And where that logic fails is you can't think of 40% or 25% or any other percent as just being in a vacuum, by being all by itself. It's always 40% of something, right? Or 25% of something. So as another example, what if I said that I just won 50% of $1 million? That's a lot of money, right? 50% of $1 million is $500,000, right? 50% means half. So I just won $500,000. That's $500,000. That's a lot of money. What if I told you I won 50% of $100? Well, that's not as much money. That's just half of $100, which is 50 bucks. So whenever you say a percent of something, the of something is very important. And that's where the customer's logic went wrong here, because 40% of a full glass is not the same as 40% of this much, okay? All right, so I think I've explained that enough there. Let me know if you have any questions about that, and have a great day.